Hey guys, how we doing today? This is Wally again, WordLearnerNet.com. And if you guys are watching this Bionic WP review, it means that you guys are thinking about using their managed web hosting services to create a website or two for your business itself. If that's the case, then I wanted to put up this brief video to tell you about the ins and outs, of their managed hosting itself. What is it that I personally think about them? Some things that you should look out for before you get started with them today. And I'm just going to give you my all out honest opinion in this Bionic WP review. That way, you guys can save money and frustration before getting started. If you guys are new here to this channel, for learnernet.com, you guys know what to do. Hit the subscribe button right below, along with the bell. And that way, any future videos, guys, that I put up, you'll be sure to receive them. I did create a post on the blog. I'll link to it right below. That way, you guys can find out more information about Bionic WP. How is it that they got started? And why is it that you should give them a shot today, especially if you are wanting to migrate your website over to their platform? So, when you create a website today, there are two main things that you need. One is a domain name, what you're going to call your website. Like in my case, it's learnernet.com. It's simple, doesn't have any dashes or hyphens, nothing crazy like that in the domain name. And you also need web hosting. Where is it that your website is going to live, online? So, there are a lot of web hosting providers online, some that really specialize in shared web hosting, others that specialize in what's called managed hosting itself. And that's what we're really looking at today, Bionic WP, their managed hosting services that they have, and how is it that they really stand apart from the masses out there. You guys might be just like the millions of other new entrepreneurs out there that we all want to be successful online. And, will Bionic WP help you to do that? Will it help your website to rank higher in the search engines and have a really better performance and help you to be found, online by your potential clients? This is a question that a lot of people want to know. It really doesn't matter what type of business or the industry that you're in, whether you want to rank on a local basis, nationwide, or even globally. Everything really starts with your web hosting. And so you have to really think and do your personal, investigation to find out, if the web hosting provider that you want to partner with will be just that. So what we're going to be talking about today, I'm going to be telling you a little bit about the background of Bionic WP. Again, how is it that they got started? I'm going to tell you what I personally think about them. I'm going to tell you about some competitors and alternatives to Bionic WP. I feel that as an entrepreneur or small business owner that you should have a bigger picture of what to expect, with any web hosting provider out there. Obviously we think about costs, we think about things like security, we think about things like uptime performance, customer support. All of these major areas are extremely important, guys. In fact, when I create, websites online with web hosting providers, those are the main four categories that I hone in on. There are a lot of things that are important about a web hosting provider, but for me personally, as an entrepreneur and blogger, I like to look and hone in on those specific four areas. And hopefully, by the end of this Bionic WP WordPress hosting review, you guys will have more information and be able to make a solid decision if Bionic WP is for you or one of their competitors. All right? Does that sound like a plan? Great. So let's dive in. So Bionic WP, guys, is what you could probably call like the new kid on the block. They haven't been around a very long time, just a couple of years in comparison to, a lot of their competitors online. So the cool thing about Bionic WP, or the TheWPHelp as they were previously called before they, rebranded themselves and, gave like the new name of Bionic WP, which I think is pretty cool. They really only specialize in managed WordPress hosting services. So if you're looking for shared web hosting that's like super cheap and you're a beginner like online, Bionic WP might not be for you. I think they're really for people that have already some experience online creating websites. Maybe you have like some technical experience, building websites from ground up. If you want to migrate from your current web hosting provider right now over to Bionic WP, I think that's an amazing idea. Basically, with managed hosting services, I think it's ideally for people that are looking for something better than shared web hosting. Of course, with shared web hosting, I'm not going to talk too heavily about it, but you have a lot of like security issues. There are issues with lack of resources, all of which can drive a person away from it. So if you're looking for something better than shared web hosting, and you really want to like upgrade to a higher level of performance, then you want to look at a managed hosting service like BionicWP. You may not have heard about them before. As I mentioned before, they're very new. You don't find too much about them on Reddit or Quora. They do have a YouTube channel. It's called the WPHelp itself. But of course, as I mentioned, they recently rebranded everything. And now, of course, you have their website here that we're on for Bionic WP. And I will drop some links right below, guys. And that way you really get started with them today using the free trial that they're offering. So just a little bit about the company, guys. They're not owned by EIG, which is Endurance International Group itself. You guys know that companies like Bluehost, HostGator, all of these companies that are out there that are owned by EIG are really known for not having that great in the way of customer support. The customer support is not great. So, just doing my personal research, into this and just being reassured that they're not like a spinoff of EIG. They're not owned by that same, company itself. I mean, that in itself is a relief to want to try it out today. You guys can check out the post that I just created not too long ago. I'll link to it right below, and that way you guys can find out again more about the background of the company itself. But really, Bionic WP, to manage our WordPress hosting services, is really ideally for individuals that are bloggers, freelancers. If you're a small business, a growing small business as well, if you want to do like e-commerce, set up like different stores or sell products online, or if you're an agency, then it's really ideal, for that. As I mentioned, they're not your typical shared web hosting. They're not cheap. They do cost a pretty penny, but you should be expected to pay top dollar for top quality. I mean, just think about the real difference between like shared web hosting and managed. I kind of like to use the example. If you guys have been following, my channel or even on my website at learningnetnet.com, I often like to use the example of like a person renting a hotel. You might have a hotel that is probably like a 5-star versus one that's a 2-star. You obviously know the difference. The quality, right? The quality, the cleanliness, better customer support. Everything is just better. I mean, even when you look at like, perhaps like a Lamborghini versus like a Toyota, both cars are great, but one obviously beats the other. We're talking about quality. And so that's what you're getting with Bionic WP's managed hosting itself. And of course, with that comes the price ticket itself. So what does it really cost to get started with Bionic WP's WordPress hosting? So you can either host one website or you can host multiple websites. It really just depends on you and your personal needs. The web hosting itself, the pricing starts at roughly $27.50 per site. So depending on your your web hosting needs itself, if you want to start off with one website and that's all you really need, I think that's ideal for individuals that want to migrate over, or if you're just starting from ground up, with your website online. You can just get started, at the basic plan itself, and it's really scalable web hosting itself. Really ideal for individuals that want to just upgrade as your web hosting needs change. So let's talk next about security. How is Bionic WP security for the websites itself? And we're going to talk about not only that, but why is it that you should be concerned about the security of your website across the board? I mean, just think about it. I was looking at a stat online at webarcsecurity.com. And it was interesting, guys, that it mentioned that some 30,000 websites are hacked every day. And the reason is because many websites online fall prey to attacks due to a lack of security. So if you're getting started with a web hosting provider, be it Bionic WP or another managed hosting provider out there, or whatever the host is out there, you should be concerned about what that provider is doing to protect your websites. In many cases, it's been confirmed that a lot of websites that have been hacked into are due to maybe plugins, themes, maybe software, PHP, and the like that's not updated. The cool thing about BionicWP is that with their managed hosting itself, they actually update all of these things for you. That way, you don't have to worry about any problems with security. And so you think about it, any website that's out there could be prone to being hacked. What I like about BionicWP that's really unique is that they have a hack promise. Now, what exactly is a hack promise, and why should you be excited that they offer it? Well, again, thousands upon thousands of websites each and every day are hacked or maybe injected with malware and taken over. And so the cool thing about BionicWP and their team is that they have a hack promise. And what this means in short is that they will fix your website for free with no extra charge. A lot of web hosting providers, if not all, charge extra, or you'd have to like hire perhaps like a web developer to, remove, like malware or any issues that have caused your website to go down. So I like that they offer this guarantee to all of their clients, including you. It's a hack promise is what they call it. And basically it just guarantees that in the event your website is compromised, and they will fix it 100% free. Some other cool things that they do in the way of security is that they do perform daily malware scannings. So I really like that, again, just taking a step forward, if you will, just to really make sure that your website is safe, online. Coupled with that is, obviously firewall that is constantly working to prevent your website from being, bombarded from malware. They have 30-day of off-site backups. And again, as I mentioned before in the beginning, they have automatic core theme and plugin updates with software. So you never have to worry about your website being, out of date, or your themes, your plugins, and the like. Everything is updated automatically for you, which essentially will save you a lot of time online with the management of your website. So one thing that I wanted to talk about now, guys, is overall some things that I really love about BionicWP. They have really, really fast page loads, guys. There are a lot of testimonials you'll find, obviously on their website. I couldn't find anything negative about them at all online. Everything is super positive. And one of the main things that I really, really appreciate about them is that they really work really hard to promote fast page loads for their clients' websites. And obviously, this is a important Google ranking factor to help your websites to rank, higher in the search engines. For websites that don't load less than 3 seconds, obviously is a huge deterrent for your visitors. And obviously you don't want that. Next thing that I wanted to talk about, guys, in this BionicWP review are some things that I really love across the board, with their web hosting platform itself. I mentioned in part, some security pros that they have, with the round the clock malware scans that really protect your website, from hackers and malware and the like. But I wanted to talk about like page loads, because obviously if you have a website that loads fast, it's a Google ranking factor, and fast websites that load fast rank higher in the search engines. And as a result, obviously you have more traffic, targeted traffic, which eventually will convert into sales. And that means more money for you. And so when you partner with a web hosting provider, guys, whose focus is to promote really great performance for your websites in the way of page loads, essentially it's just going to do, a lot of good, and you're going to rank a lot higher, in the SERPs itself. Their web hosting platform itself is built using Google Cloud itself. Right now they have 26 Google data centers that they're using, which I think is amazing. So obviously you can be rest assured that you're partnering with a web hosting provider that's super reliable. It's really scalable, as I mentioned before. I mean, you can create one website. If you want to do multiple websites, you can do that as well, just depending on your personal needs, guys. Get SSH access, their SSL certificates. You have unlimited WordPress site edits. You have guaranteed page performance with 90 plus Google page speed insights. They just really care a lot about the overall performance, of your website itself. So guys, the next thing that I wanted to talk about in this review are some things that I don't like about BionicWP. I just want to make sure that this review is 100% unbiased and I'm not leaning more to one, end than to the other. All of the reviews, guys, that I have, on my channel here for learninternet.com and also on my actual website, I try to make them unbiased and give you the good and the bad. That way you guys can make a rock solid decision as for if BionicWP is for you or not. So there are really only a couple of setbacks that I could think about that I wanted to include, in this review today. And one is that they only have chat and email support itself. They don't have phone support. It's only chat or email. But what I'll say is that they have extremely fast responses to tickets, which I think, in my opinion, is extremely important. And so not having phone support is not like a game changer. I mean, there are other web hosting providers out there that don't have phone support, such as DreamHost. I mean, they've been around since 1997. They don't have phone support. Let me see, Hostinger, I use them as well. Flywheel, Namecheap. I mean, there are a lot of providers that are well known that have been around an extremely long period of time that don't have phone support yet. They're fully functional, great customer support, just like BionicWP. And so that's one thing that I wanted to mention to you guys before getting started with the link below. Another thing that I wanted to mention is that they're not too particular about giving, like free domains. A lot of these cheap, mediocre web hosting providers that are out there that you may actually host with, right now, that people most likely, host with right now, try to entice people, with free offers, free this, free that. BionicWP is not like that. I just think they're like a step up above, and obviously the quality of web hosting that you're getting is just, far superior than any shared web hosting provider that's out there. So if you're looking for a free domain, you won't get one at BionicWP. You need to get that first. And so, I mean, you can get it like a Namecheap, you can get a GoDaddy. I prefer to get my domains first at Namecheap, and then I will redirect the name servers, to, or pointing them rather to the name service of the host that I'm using itself. So in this case, you can get your domain name, you can point the name servers to BionicWP and be on your way to, creating your website itself. But they don't have free domains. They're not really about that. That's not their deal, which again, it's not a game changer. Domain names cost about 15, 20 bucks a year. So you're not talking about a lot of money when you're, investing in like domain names itself for your brand. So next I wanted to talk about uptime. What is uptime and why should you be concerned with BionicWP's uptime performance? So uptime, in short, guys, is really just a measure or percentage of how often your website is online and visible to other people when they're searching for you. So for example, you guys are watching this video. You may be watching it, on my YouTube channel. You may be watching it on my actual blog itself. In either case, you guys search using very specific keywords such as BionicWP review, and you want to know more about the web hosting services. So thankfully, you guys, found this video, and you're on my site, perhaps watching this video, which is great. But the point of the matter that I wanted to hone in is that when you get started online and people start to search for you through Google, Yahoo, and Bing, when they click through, obviously you want to make sure that your website is up. Websites that are not visible and up and running when people are searching for them lose money. Websites that are up and running when people are searching for them are making money. So how does BionicWP's uptime performance fare, with the masses? On average, you can expect up to 100% with uptime performance, which I think is extremely amazing. When you look at like the high 99.997 or 998, you're talking about high percentiles of uptime performance. Obviously, the platform is working off of Google's cloud itself, and they have about 26, data centers. So it really doesn't matter where you guys are situated, whether you're here in the US, you're in Europe, Asia, you can always build your website on, one of those data centers itself. They also have Cdns, which again promote, fast page loads, and they really help to process, high droves of traffic, so they support Nginx, hosting itself. So if you have a website that already has hundreds of thousands or even millions of visitors itself, BionicWP is great, for that as a managed host. And that's something that I wanted to mention, to you. So all of these factors, guys, help and really contribute to the high uptime performance itself. It's extremely important. Can't overemphasize this point itself, but you really, really need to know how a web hosting provider is performing, online. That way, you can rest assured that your SEO rankings are not going to plummet. I found something very interesting online that talked about the importance of having a website with great, uptime performance. It kind of takes me back to a news line where it talked about Amazon some time ago. You guys may or may not, remember this, but Amazon, everybody uses Amazon. I mean, you just never would imagine that a website like Amazon would go down. And that's in fact what happened on one occasion where the website itself was down for 13 minutes. Do you know how much money Amazon lost in that 13-minute period where they were down and weren't accessible, by their customers that were searching or, trying to make purchases online? It's interesting that a website that I came across, upguard.com, mentioned that Amazon lost $2,646,501 in a question of 13 minutes. Now, obviously, none of our websites are in Amazon, right? But just think about the industry that you're in right now. It doesn't matter what you sell, what you promote, the service that you provide. If your website was down for 13 minutes or even 5 minutes, how much revenue would that represent for your business itself? Now, I'll give you this example just so you really understand, again, the high tier or the high, uptime performance itself that BionicWP has and has been performing since inception. And so I talk about that in my reviews because you guys should know and understand how reliable a web hosting provider is, online. Because if your website is down when people are searching for you, it means that you are losing money, and nobody wants to lose money at all, right? So if you're currently hosting with a provider that is, maybe an EIG owned company, they have like bad customer support, you have slow page loads, you're just having issues, with it, get started with BionicWP, guys, today. There's a link that's right below. They have free site migrations, and they'll move your site completely free to the platform within minutes, guys. They do have a free trial itself. You can find out more details below with the link that's right below, guys. But all in all, guys, I just think they're an amazing web hosting provider. They're not cheap. You are paying for quality. And when you have that, guys, you should be willing to pay a premium, for the best, web hosting that's out there. Of course, at BionicWP, them specializing in managing, hosting services. I mean, there are a lot of web hosting providers out there that also specialize in, manage hosting a service itself. If you want to know about some alternatives, you can do one or two things. You can check out the description right below of this video, or you can also check out my blog at learninit.com. I'll link to the post where I do provide some other alternatives of some web hosting providers that also specialize in manage WordPress hosting. So what are some takeaways that you should have with this BionicWP review? One, I personally think that BionicWP is really ideally for people that have some experience already with building websites online. If you're currently hosting with a shared web hosting provider, and you want to experience a change, you want to migrate, I think BionicWP is an ideal fit for you, especially if you're an agency, a blogger, you want to start like an e-commerce store to sell products online, you're doing freelancing, you're a corporation or small business, or anything in between, guys. I think that BionicWP is an ideal solution for your web hosting needs, guys. And as I mentioned before, they do have a free trial. Many web hosting providers online don't offer that. Typically, you have to pay up front for your web hosting, and that's just it. So I like that they actually allow you to try out their web hosting before you actually buy it, guys. So guys, what I wanted to do today in this review mainly is just to share with you some points that I put together, on the blog itself with this BionicWP review. You guys can check it out right below. I'll link to it. But there's a link also below. It is an affiliate link. Get started today, guys. Take action right now so you guys can take advantage today of a free trial and get started creating your website within a few short moments. This is 2021, guys. This is going to be an amazing year. I hope that you and your families are doing good, that you're all safe, doing COVID. Give this video a thumbs up. Drop your comments right below. And if you like what you heard today, I really appreciate it if you also shared it with other people. That way they too can benefit from the web hosting services offered by BionicWP. You guys have an amazing day and take care.